So this one thing has had the biggest impact on my financial well-being. After I implemented it, I felt a sense of relief and peace of mind, and just in general, I was able to take more risk financially, like start investing in the stock market with larger amounts of money and go full-time on YouTube. But for some reason, not enough people take it seriously. Hello finance people, my name is Robert and I'm here to share my learnings and experiences about personal finance as a European. Now just imagine you're going on a road trip in your car with your girlfriend. You're driving through a remote area somewhere in the middle of France. You've got your route in Google Maps, you're snacking on your favorite macarons, and you're blasting your favorite UK drill tunes or whatever you're into. So you're driving along and all of a sudden you hear a pop and your car starts drag to your right, and you realize, oh no, I have a flat tire and the nearest town is far away. Now, if you're prepared, you have a spare tire and a toolkit in your trunk. After cursing your fate and sweating a little while putting back the tire, and obviously your girlfriend will remind you how bad of a driver you are because, yeah, you broke the tire. You're able to continue your journey relatively easy. And by the way, I hope my girlfriend doesn't watch this part because I'm gonna hear about it. But if you don't have a spare tire, prepare yourself for stress and anxiety and being shouted at. When talking about personal finance, my emergency fund is like having a spare tire in the car. Sure, you didn't expect to have a flat tire, but because you planned for potential mishaps, you're prepared. You can fix your car without being stuck in the middle of nowhere where people eat snails and stuff. Just like on this road trip, life can throw unforeseen challenges at us, a sudden job loss or unexpected medical bill or an urgent home repair. It allows you to handle these sudden breakdowns without the additional stress from, finances. And this way you keep your journey smooth even when something unexpected happens. For me personally, an emergency fund, it just took a lot of weight from my shoulders. Once I achieved my goal, I felt peace of mind and kind of empowered because I felt like I was in better control of my financial situation and less vulnerable to any unforeseen shocks. Like a few weeks ago, I was visiting Barcelona with friends, and one of them had an urgent visit to hospital because of pain in the stomach. And it turned out he had appendicitis, so he needed urgent surgery. And I was just so grateful that I could just book another flight and extend the hotel and help my friend to get back home after the surgery. And I didn't even need to think about the financial consequences because I had to stay a bit longer. It wasn't even a question to me. The general rule of thumb is that have enough money in your emergency fund to cover 3 to 6 months of basic living expenses. So if you spend 2,000 euros every month on your day-to-day expenses like food and rent, you should have 6 to 12,000 euros in your emergency fund. Now, it might sound like 6,000 is a lot, but actually it goes pretty quick. For me, it took about a year, maybe a year and a half to save it up. My initial goal was to save up 2 months of expenses, but once I reached it, I just kept going until 4 months.
And I know that some of you will say, hey, but all that money just sitting there, inflation will just eat it up and you're just kind of losing money having that on your savings account. But for me, the peace of mind is much more worth than maximizing my profits from my investments.
And just to make it easier for you to start saving, here are a few tips that help me with the emergency fund or building it up. First of all, you need to know your number. Having a clear goal and a time frame for achieving it will help you get there much quicker. So calculate what you need monthly and determine how many months you want to cover. As mentioned earlier, usually it's 3 to 6 months. The second tip is to make sure you save an amount that you are comfortable with. There is no need to overdo it. If you can save only 50 a month, that's better than nothing. Third, I also opened a separate savings account so the money is totally separate from my main account. This way, it became almost like a game for me, and it is so satisfying to see your savings account slowly increasing, and every time you feel a bit more confident. The next tip is to start small. I started with the small, regular contributions. For me, it's better to be consistent than not saving at all. To do this, I automated my savings. So let's say my salary comes on 24th, I set an automatic transfer from my main account to my savings account on 26th. This way you won't even notice that you are saving every month, and this will prevent you from feeling the pain and making the decision every month if you do it manually. So definitely automating is the way to go. And in the end, you won't even notice that the money is gone because you never see it. The fifth tip is to prioritize your savings account. For example, for me, probably a third of the money came from unexpected sources like tax refunds, bonuses, or gifts and something like that. So I mostly put those towards my emergency fund, and trust me, it's totally worth it. The sixth tip is probably the hardest part, but try to resist the temptation to use the emergency fund for non-emergencies. Remember, the primary purpose of this fund is to cover you in case you have unforeseen financial hardships. Obviously, if you need it, you can use it, but then quickly just top it up. As soon as possible, you just fill it up until your number again. Now, there is another way you can save a lot of money every month, and it just requires you to postpone the purchase of this item. To explain it, I've created this video right here where I'll explain what I think is the top wealth killer, but very few people are talking about it, especially here in Europe.